What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Finally, returning to some deck profile making. Now you can see it here on the screen today. I'm going to be presenting to you guys Plunder, and not just Plunder. So you guys know me. I'm a big purist at heart. I love making decks just based off of just the specific archetype and just see how far we can take them. And that's exactly what I'm still doing here. But when I was making the deck, I did notice that one, Plunder has a very small finite amount of cards, so there's a big hole to fill in the archetype, and I was trying to look for ways to kind of like plug that hole. A lot of people play kaijus, some people play some other things, and then I came across the Adventure Engine. And I know this is an engine that's splashed into a lot of decks, so typically I would try to avoid it. But when I actually sat down and looked at what the Adventure Engine offered Plunder itself, Plunder just the specific archetype, I was very interested. I made it, and it works so well. It works so well. So we're gonna go through the deck list. We're gonna keep this in the usual fashion. We're gonna go through the deck list, top left, bottom right, as usual, and then we're gonna come back in another video to premiere this deck in some ranked matches and see just how well we can do. But without further ado, let's get into it. So the first top two cards are Maxi, Ash Blossom. I really only tech one of these in. Just because one, they're nice. The deck has a lot of draw engine anyway, so I don't really care too much for Maxi. Literally, and I'm just going to point it out now, they're just here for crossout. I have seen the power of this card, and yes, I know a lot of people have a disdain for it, but truthfully, it is one of the holes that I needed to plug with Plunder. So we have it here just for the extra help of getting rid of like some of their pesky hand traps and things like that, so we can continue our plays and that stuff. Next up, we have Water Enchantress of the Temple. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar, but just in case some of you are not familiar with the Adventure Engine, we're going to go ahead and go through these cards anyway. So, if you control an Adventure token, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can banish this card from your hand or graveyard, add one Rite of arrrrrr from your deck or graveyard to your hand. If you control an Adventure token, you can place one field spell that mentions Adventure token from your deck face up into your field zone. You can only use each effect once per turn. The top part and the bottom part, that doesn't matter. She's literally just here for the search engine, so we can get out Rite of arrrrrr, which we'll get to later. That's literally her entire gimmick, and she works extremely well with Plunder because a lot of cards in Plunder actually discard. So you can use her as a discard target, get her into the graveyard, and then use her effect in the graveyard. That's one of the things, one of the key synergies that I really did like when making this deck. Next up, we are playing 3 Whitebeard, the Plunder Patrol Helm. During your opponent's turn, now every single of the beard plunders are going to have this very first effect. So I'm not going to bother continuing to read it each and every single time. So during your opponent's turn, it's a quick effect. You could special summon one Plunder Patrol monster from your extra deck with the same attribute as a monster on your opponent controls or is in their graveyard, and if you do, equip this card you control to it. It's nice. It's, you know, use it all too much, but it's nice to have. Now, the main meat of Whitebeard. If this card is sent from the hand or monster zone to the graveyard, you can activate this effect, special summon one Plunder Patrol monster from your deck, except Whitebeard, the Plunder Patrol Helm. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except Plunder Patrol monsters. You can only use each effect once per turn. A lot of these cards are going to have that very similar wording, so I'm not going to keep repeating it. But just know, almost each and every single one of the Plunder cards lock you into only special summoning Plunders. So keep that in mind when playing the deck, because it makes your extra deck very specific, and sometimes that you can only use the rest of your extra deck on certain turns or after you already played your one turn. So it's very turn specific, but it's fine. Now we're on to Redbeard, the Plunder Patrol Matey. We're going to skip down. If this card is sent from your hand or monster zone to the graveyard, you can target one Plunder Patrol monster you control, except Redbeard. Equip this card to it. This is fantastic because this is what the deck entirely revolves around. It revolves around equipping your cards to other cards, mainly your extra deck monsters, to get off specific effects. So this is very nice. Next on, we're going to move on to Bluebeard. Bluebeard's the only one with a different top text. So if you control a Plunder Patrol monster, except for Bluebeard, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is sent from your hand or monster zone to the graveyard, you can discard one card and draw a card. It's nice. It's a nice way to not only get off these other effects up here, but it allows you to kind of like whittle away your hand a little bit. Maybe get rid of something that you're not needing at the moment. Try and draw into something that you could use better at the moment. Very nice card. We played it 3. Next up, we have Golden Hair, the newest Plunder Patrol. So you could send one other Plunder Patrol monster card from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. If this card is in your graveyard, you can discard one card, special summon this card, but you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for Plunder Patrol monsters. This is great for just filling up the field. She's one of our tuners, which I forgot to mention that Whitebeard is another one of our tuners. And it's just a nice way to kick off other effects while constantly special summoning something out into the field. She ties very well with Whitebeard, being able to special summon herself, and then using Whitebeard's effect to special summon something else, like maybe even Bluebeard. It's great combo fuel, great combo potential. Next up, we play 2 Black Eyes, the Plunder Patrol Sea Guide. There we go. You can target one Plunder Patrol monster in your graveyard, except Black Eyes, the Plunder Patrol Sea Guide. Special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, add that monster to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon Plunder Patrol. You can't special summon any other cards besides the Plunder Patrol. If this card is sent from your hand or monster zone to the graveyard, you can target one Plunder Patrol monster card in your spell and trap zone and special summon in defense position. And you can only activate each effect once per turn. Amazing card. Honestly, this is what helps sets up some of your combos. You could argue playing this at 3, but I think the other Plunder Patrols are just a tad bit more important. But I see this card enough playing it at 2, so I think the consistency is fine. But this helps refill your plays. It helps get some of your Plunder Patrols back into your hand, so you can keep doing some new stuff. Very, very nice card. We played it 2. And then 1 Wandering Griffin Rider, if you are unfamiliar. During the main phase, if you control no monsters or control an adventure token, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. And this works on both turns. When a card or effect is activated while you control an adventure token, you can shuffle this card into your deck, and if you do, negate that activation, and if you do, destroy that card. You can only use each effect once per turn. So this is just a great negate card. Strong defense to just pop out into the field, kind of get in the way. And then you have basically just a free Omni negate on the field. This is another thing that really helps Plunder out a lot, because a lot of their negates are specifically tied between different cards in the extra deck, so they're kind of very, very much spread apart. So having just one card that's relatively easy to get out and offers an Omni negate is just very, very useful. Moving on to the spells and traps, we play 1 Raigeki, very nice. Next up, we play Plunder Patrol Ships Shipping. I got it. So you can fusion summon 1 Fiend Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. You can banish this card from your graveyard to then target 1 Plunder Patrol monster you control. Equip 1 Emblem of the Plunder Patrol or 1 Plunder Patrol monster from your deck to that target. You can only use each effect once per turn. This is a nice card to tech in at 1. You don't use it too often, but it's very nice, especially if you can get it into the graveyard to get access to Emblem of the Plunder Patrol, which we'll talk about right now. This is an amazing card that I honestly recommend every Plunder Patrol player to rock. I've seen people not run this card, and I really question why. So you can only equip this to a Plunder Patrol monster. It gains 500 attack. Also, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. You can send this equipped card to the graveyard, special summon 1 Plunder Patrol monster from your extra deck with the same attribute as a monster on the field or in the graveyard. Then take the monster that this card was equipped to and equip it to that special summon monster as an equipped spell with this effect. The equipped monster gains 500 attack. This is phenomenal. This card is phenomenal because not only does it make it so your Plunder Patrols can't get targeted by effects, it then makes it so you can just get a card from your extra deck, a different card onto the field, and slap a free equip onto it, and you still get the same 500 attack effect. Sure, you don't have the cannot be targeted by card effects because this card goes to the graveyard, but this card is still insanely good and allows you to swap between what you need at any given time. Honestly, amazing card. I played it too. I did skip over Rite of Arasimir, but I was just talking about a combo. So, Rite of Arasimir, if you control no adventurer tokens, special summon 1 adventurer token. It's a fairy earth level 4 attack, 2000 and 2000 defense. Then, if you do not control Fateful Adventure, You can place one Fateful Adventure from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone. You cannot activate the effects of monsters on the field. The turn you activate this card except for special summon monsters, which we're going to be doing 90% of the time. So this is a great card that doesn't get away with a lot of the combos that we do, and it helps continue the engine because it gets out Fateful Adventure, which we'll talk about in a second. Next up, we play Draco Back, the Rideable Dragon. You can only equip this to a monster that you control. You can only control one Draco Back, the Rideable Dragon. You can only use each effect once per turn. While this card is equipped to a non-effect monster, you can target one card your opponent controls and return it to their hand. If this card is in the graveyard, you can target one adventurer token you control and equip this card to that target. Very good at recycling. I don't really use that bottom effect all that much, but it's great for just getting pesky shit off the field. Just pop it right back to their hand. If they fusion summon a monster, it goes right back to their extra deck. It's a nice card, and it works very well with our combo off of Fateful Adventure. But real quick, let's talk about Plunder Patrol Shipyard. Plunder Patrol monsters you control get 500 attack for each Plunder Patrol card in your spell and trap zone. You can only use each effect once per turn. You can discard one card, add one Plunder Patrol card from your deck to your hand. The discarding is just fantastic for filling your engine. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one Plunder Patrol card in your spell and trap zone. Set this card, and if you do, return that target to your hand. Great for getting this thing back out, and then great for taking Plunder Patrols that you no longer need in your spell and trap zone and popping it back to your hand so you can use their effect by discarding them. Amazing card. Absolutely, you need to play this card at a 3. You need to be seeing this thing on your field spell. You want to try and draw into it as much time as you can. It's one of your main meaty engines. Now, finally, let's talk about Fateful Adventure. Once per turn, the first time a monster you control equipped with an equipped spell would not be destroyed by battle. That's your entire deck. You can only use each effect once per turn. During your main phase, you can add one monster that mentions Adventure Token from your deck to your hand, which is going to be Draco Back. You can add one monster that mentions Adventure Token from your deck to your hand, then send one card from your hand to the graveyard. If a monster is normal or special summon, you can take one equipped spell that mentions Adventure Token and either add it to your hand or equip it. So you play this searches out Griffin, you get Griffin, you activate Griffin to get him onto the field. This kicks off, you then search for Draco Back and you equip it to your Adventurer Token. Bam! Big meaty combo. You have something to set up to pop shit back to their hand. You now have an Omni Negate on the field, and now you have a card on the field that protects your monsters as long as they have an equipped spell equipped to them. It does not matter what it is. And every Plunder Patrol turns into an equipped spell when they're in the spell and trap zone. So this card, this is the synergy between between Adventure and Plunder that I was talking about. That's why I absolutely love this engine in this deck. Next up, we play 3 Twin Twisters. Discard one card, then target 2 spell and traps on the field and destroy them. Great for just clearing out back row, and you're discarding a card. It's helping fill the engine and getting rid of your Plunder Patrols to activate effects. Play 2 Call By, 1 Cross Out, 1 Forbidden Droplet, 2 Infinite Impermanences. These are all staple cards. I'm not going to explain them. You see these cards on every single deck. We're going to move on. Finally, we play 1 Plunder Patrol Booty. You can declare 1 attribute and target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. It becomes that attribute until the end of turn, even if this card leaves the field. Then you can take 1 Plunder Patrol monster from your graveyard and either special summon it or shuffle it back into your deck. You can only use this effect once per turn. Once per turn during the end phase, if you control no Plunder Patrol monsters, send this card to the graveyard. So this is great for turning anything onto the field into what you specifically need, because in order to special summon a lot of these cards with our effects, you need to have the attribute that is tied to these cards. Dark and Light are very common, so you're going to be able to get these 2 out a lot, but Fire is not that common. So you can use this to turn anything into a Fire type so you can get your Synchro out. We do have means of hard summoning the Synchro with our tuners and whatnot, but it is a nice card to find the attribute that you need at any given time. Because you're relying on your opponent to have the specific attribute, so you can activate and kick off your effects. But we have main ways to mitigate that with Plunder Patrol Booty. I see a lot of people play this at 2, but honestly, I have not had a single issue playing it at 1, and I have not had any issues not even seeing this card at all. Moving on, finally, to the extra deck, we play 2 of Plunder Patrol Ship Lease. Lease, whatever, however you want to pronounce that. So you need 2 Plunder Patrol monsters during the main phase. This is the quick effect. You can special summon 1 Plunder Patrol monster from your hand or face-up spell and trap zone, special summon it to the field. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can discard 1 Plunder Patrol card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Then if there's a card equipped with a Plunder Patrol card, you can add 1 Plunder Patrol card from your deck to your hand. This card is phenomenal. So it's a monster negate that helps fill your board and helps get stuff back into your hand to kind of like keep refueling it. It's very specific because you do need a Plunder Patrol monster in hand, but you have plenty of ways of getting them back into your hand and utilizing them and all that stuff. Next up, we play White's Aura Whale. Now, I haven't used this card once yet, but it's still nice to have because I've actually seen instances where it works during my research. So you need 1 water tuner and 1 non-water tuner water monster, but you can still get this card out just fine. When this card is synchro summoned, you can destroy all your opponent's attack position monsters. This card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. This card, if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. If this card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can banish 1 other water monster in your graveyard and special summon this card. And if you do it is treated as a tuner. This thing is a beast. Like if it hits the field, like not only is it a board wipe if they're all in attack position, but like it just hits. You know, it's got good attack power, and it can just kind of keep coming back. You know, it's a very strong card. I played it 1. I haven't used it yet, but I know it's gonna come, and I have seen other people use this card. So Plunder Patrol Ship Bran, all the field monsters you control gain 500 attack. You can discard 1 Plunder Patrol card, then target 1 spell or trap your opponent controls and banish it. Then you can add 1 Plunder Patrol monster from your deck to your hand. This is a quick effect if there is an equipped card with Plunder Patrol. So if you have a Plunder Patrol equipped, you can use this as a quick effect at any time. If not, you got to use it like a normal effect or like a normal spell card. But it's great for getting rid of spells and traps. Now this is what I was talking about before, where a lot of what this deck does is just split amongst other cards. So Lease already covers monster effects. This covers spells and traps. We'll talk about what the other one does in a second. Next up, we play 1 totally awesome. I'm not going to explain this card because I'm sure you've seen it plenty of times. I'm sure a lot of you are very much annoyed with this card. We kind of deck it in here just to kind of scare people a little bit, but it's a nice card to have. Next up, we play Bahamut Shark, which is a nice combo tool for totally awesome. Discard 1 material and special summon 1 rank 3 or lower water Xyz monster from your extra deck. This card cannot attack for the rest of the turn. Bam, gets out totally awesome. Nice card. Now, Plunder Patrol Ship Mork, however you say that. You can discard 1 Plunder Patrol card, then target 1 effect monster your opponent controls and banish it. Then you can add 1 Plunder Patrol spell or trap from your deck and add it to your hand. Quick effect if you have a Plunder Patrol card equipped. You can only use this effect of Patrol Ship Mork once per turn. If a Plunder Patrol card you control would be destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can detach 1 card material from this card instead. Nice protection, and it gets rid of effect monsters by just banishing them. And this is another thing that I was talking about before. This is just popping stuff off the field. This is split amongst a 3rd card, and it does have protection built into it if you do have materials attached to it. Sometimes you won't just because of the way that you can special summon these cards, but if you end up having materials attached to it, it's just a nice card to have. Next up, we play 1 Salmon Gray Almiraj. I'm not going to explain this card. This is a staple card, and everyone sees this all the time, but it's a nice tech in because a lot of our monsters are relatively weak, so it's really easy to pop out. Next up, we play Union Carrier just for the added effect of possibly getting more cards equipped. I don't really use it, but it's just nice to have in the deck. Next up, we have Blackbeard, the Plunder Patrol Captain. So it has to be 2 monsters, including a Plunder Patrol monster. Quick effect. You can target 1 effect monster you control and special summon 1 Plunder Patrol monster from your extra deck with the same attribute as a monster in your opponent controls or is in their graveyard. And if you do equip that target to it, then draw 1 card. You can only use this effect of Blackbeard once per turn. So this is great for getting your cards out from the extra deck and immediately equipping something to it, like frame 1. Now, if you notice from what I said, it has to be, your opponent has to be controlling the specific attribute, and that's what I was talking about before with Plunder, Patrol, Booty. It's really kind of dependent on what your opponent has, but all three of these cards are just phenomenal. It really does not matter what comes out to the field first, and that's also another reason why we play the Adventure Engine, because just in case that we can only get out Mark, then we're missing a spell and trap target and a monster effect negation. We have Griffin Rider to help plug that hole. But still, phenomenal card. This is obviously the main meat of Plunder Patrols. This is the card that you want the most of in your deck, so you can just keep getting them out. Keep getting your board filled with all the Plunder Patrols to just keep slapping away at your opponent and doing some stuff. And then one access to Code Talker just to finish it off, just in case you need to go into it. I've seen people play Zeus. I've seen people play some other options. This is just the one I would prefer personally. And yeah, there we go. That'll do it. That is our Plunder Adventure deck, and it is probably, as much as I find my other decks very fun, this is probably one of the most fun decks that I've ever played. I enjoy it a lot. It's very unique, and it plays like an entirely different game from anything I've ever played, and I enjoy it so much. So let me know what you guys think of the deck down below. I would love to hear your opinions on it. We will return later this week with a ranked match video, so we can just show off how it works and how it functions. And yeah, you know what to do if you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya.